You asked for it, and we delivered. Did you ask for it? Probably not, but you're getting it anyway, suck it up. Small PP video. More specifically, the small dick strategy. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that one. Bigger guys aren't the only ones with dick size problems. Leave it to me to cover the less talked about of the two camps first, but we got there in the end. And look, there is a lot of size insecurity out there. Most guys on the average to small side of things are worried that they're too small, and now their chances of finding a forever partner are completely shot. Or, at the very least, delayed until they're 30, when everyone becomes desperate enough that they'll take anything. Given the prominence of corn and the mythical status of the Long Johnson, this dysmorphia is completely understandable. But it is my mission today to prove to you why a duck of any size, any shape, can be perfect for any prospective partner. Yes, even a micro duck. So, if you're on the smaller side, or if you just think that you are, I'm about to take you to school. How to wow your partner with a small penis 101. Before we get to the actual bedroom strategies part of this video, we first have to talk about numbers. Hard data. Yeah, you thought I was going into an ad read, didn't you? You fool! There's no way that would ever happen with these videos. So we're getting to the numbers. Well, really just one number in particular. We've been measuring ducks this whole time, when we really should have been measuring the other thing. The primary reason you shouldn't worry if you're big enough is vaginal depth. Why does this matter? Because it's not just the size of the key that matters, but how the lock is fashioned. It's also the primary reason most size queens are kinda delusional if they physically cannot get off to a duck smaller than 7 inches. And this is why. The vagina is a very elastic organ, says Christine O'Connor, MD, Director of Adolescent Gynecology and Well Woman Care at Mercy Medical Center in Baltimore. If you think about it, it has to be small enough to hold a tampon in place, but large enough to pass a baby through. So naturally, it must stretch to fit whatever is inside it. This is because the walls of the vagina are similar to those of the stomach. They sort of fold together to collapse when unused, and then they expand when necessary. So the actual size of the canal can vary. Just like a penis, sizes of female genitalia are not consistent, but they do tend to fall within a typical range, and generally do not exceed a certain maximum, unless they're pushing a baby through. The most widely used measurements come from Masters and Johnson's work from the 1960s. It's an older study, sure, but this is what all of the researchers in this field use currently. 100 women who had never been pregnant, they found that vagina lengths, unstimulated, range from 2.75 inches to about 3.25 inches. When a woman is aroused, it increases to 4.25 to 4.75 inches. Also, they found that regardless of how long the vagina is, the area that is thought to be important for most women's sexual arousal is the outer 1/3. Wouldn't you know it, the average depth of the vagina is actually shorter than the average penis length. I mean, case closed. We could even get into the fact that smaller penises receive more and complete stimulation all the way down the shaft, something that is much rarer for a bigger duck to experience. I mean, there's really no reason to even continue on with the video. This fact right here just proves that it's all bullshit. Feel free to click off if that's enough for you. But I would suggest that you stick around for the rest of the video because that's just the medical data. There are vagina havers out there who are on the outer stretch of depth, because that's the great thing about humans, we're all different. For them, pleasure from penetration is legitimately difficult, but not impossible. There are things you can control to make that pleasure a reality, no matter how big you or your partner is. As O'Connor puts it, it is not an exact physical fit you are looking for in terms of sexual function. It's more about the communication between the two partners and making sure both are getting what they need out of the experience and are comfortable. To the dismay of some of us, you can't rely on the biological side alone. You're not going to get anywhere if you don't know how to use what you have, big or small. That's why there's a great many how-to guides out there in the ether of the internet detailing exactly how to make the most of a smaller duck. I've collected a number of these guides in my research, particularly ones about much smaller than average members. There's actually a lot of positions designed for maximum depth. Number 1. Doggy style. This is one of the most basic positions, right? The receiver sits on their knees and leans over, and the giver penetrates them from behind. Plain and simple. It's a go-to for a reason. This position allows you to utilize the entire length of your shaft. No complicated twister contortions. The writer of this article says, it's not too complicated, gives you a great rear view, and you can reach around to provide her with extra clitoral stimulation. You can control the speed and pattern of your thrusts for maximum penetration and pleasure. This position gives the dominant role to the giver. So if your dynamic just happens to be the other way around, which is totally normal, you may want to try cowgirl instead, or one of its modified variants. Number 2. Face-off. This position is great for smaller dudes because it's not really about thrusting, more so the wiggling around while you're inside your partner. Also a simple exercise, the giver sits on the edge of a bed or a chair, and the receiver sits on them, facing towards them. It's very intimate due to the close eye contact. And it also allows your hands to mostly be free so you can get creative with those. According to the article, the vagina has far fewer nerve endings than the clitoris, which is only intermittently stimulated during most standard intercourse positions. That's why positions that allow for clitoral stimulation and deep vaginal penetration are ideal for people with a smaller penis. Number 3. Stand and deliver. This position is also known as the bicycle. Stand at the edge of a bed or desk while your partner lies back and raises their legs to their chest. Their knees are bent as if they're doing a typical bicycling exercise. From there, grab their ankles and penetrate. It's another position designed to give the giver a lot of control over how deep that penetration is. Nothing is getting in the way, allowing you to go as deep as you can. Just be sure the receiver is comfortable. It can be a somewhat strenuous pose to hold for long periods of time. Number 4. Elevated reverse cowgirl. A variation on the classic reverse cowgirl, a pillow or blanket is placed under the hips of the person on the bottom. This just provides a bit of extra elevation, and it allows for penetration to go even deeper than before, without putting extra strain on either individual. Number 5. The spork. Have your partner lie on the floor with one leg extended straight. Kneel between their legs and raise their other leg straight up so it's resting on your shoulder. Keep a hold of their leg as you enter and use it to push and pull on you as you thrust in and out. This one isn't one that's seen very much in pornography as it's not exactly the sexiest, but it is one that's better for smaller men. It allows you to use your partner's leg as leverage, so you can control the depth of the penetration. Number 6. Pole position. Don't confuse this with the video game of the same name. Easy mistake. You're supposed to find a generally comfortable place to sit, and your partner sits next to you, but their legs face either left or right rather than straight ahead. Their hips drop, and you get the extra penetration you're looking for. This article also adds, you can either use your hands to lift their hips up and down, or, if you're sitting down low enough, they can use their feet to push off the floor to create momentum. Number 7. The Gee Whiz. Goofy ass name aside, this might be the position that gives you the absolute most depth out there. Here's how to do it. You have your partner lie on their back and pull their knees up to their chest. They roll back so their hips lift off the floor. Then you can scooch up in front of your partner and penetrate. If your knees permit, you can actually squat next to them in this pose. Their hips are elevated, and the angle of attack is very straightforward and convenient. To ensure their comfort, make sure to do it on a carpeted floor or couch. That's not going to feel good on asphalt. Number 8. The flat iron. Have your partner lie on their stomach with their feet squeezed tightly together. To help with penetration, have them put a pillow underneath their pelvic area. Have them lie on their back so you can enter them from behind. Because their hips are in a position that's more closed than open, there will be greater friction created on their vaginal walls. And as a bonus, the tighter they squeeze their legs, the more friction and pleasure you'll both feel. This position seems a bit easier and a bit more intentional. Finally, number 9, pile driver. Now this one, it's a very intimidating name, and that's because this is a very daunting position that you have to approach very carefully. But if performed optimally, it's amazing for deep penetration with a bit of roughness involved. The receiving partner lies on their back, swinging their legs back over their head, pointing their ass upwards. The penetrating partner then penetrates from above. This is similar to the G-Wiz, except it's even more flexible. It's a bit more acrobatic than the other positions, and requires, again, a good bit of flexibility. But if you can manage it, it sounds really fun, I gotta admit. As this article puts it, penis size does not prevent great sex. These positions maximize satisfaction regardless of size. Many allow for additional stimulation with sex toys, essential since most women don't orgasm from penetration alone. These positions can lead to mind-blowing orgasms for both partners, regardless of size. And that's a very comforting thought. The world of sex positions is expansive and complex, but it's also a world of extreme pleasure. So there's a specific reason these positions work: the depth of the elusive G-spot. What's the G-spot? It's an erogenous area of the vagina that, when stimulated, may lead to strong sexual arousal, powerful orgasms, and a potential female ejaculation. So where is the G-spot exactly? Nobody knows. No, I'm serious. Nobody knows. Not even the women who claim to have one. According to several of my sources, the existence of the G-spot has never actually been proven at all, nor has the source of female ejaculation. What? Like, that is fascinating to me if true. Centuries of research on the human body, and nobody, not one person, has been able to find the G-spot. At least, not from a medical standpoint. Although the G-spot has been studied since the 1940s, disagreement persists over its existence as a distinct structure, definition, and location. So not only do we not know where it is, its existence at all has been called into question. It's not just the boys who can't find it, no one can. I feel vindicated. According to science, the G-spot may be an extension of the clitoris, which together may be the cause of orgasms experienced vaginally. Sexologists and other researchers are concerned that women may consider themselves to be dysfunctional if they do not experience G-spot stimulation, and emphasize that not experiencing it is actually completely normal. Alright, so let me just get this straight. The existence of an actual consistent spot has never been proven. Alright, but there's obviously something there, right? Otherwise it wouldn't even be a thing. Otherwise, nobody would be claiming its existence in the first place, right? Well, according to a different source, a lot of studies claim to have found it, but hilariously, they can't actually agree on where it is. According to them, the different studies did systematically agree on the existence of a G-spot, but among the studies in which it was considered to exist, there was no agreement on its location, on its size, or its nature. The existence of this structure remains unsolved. Man, I cannot wait for the Mythbusters to take on this one. G-spot myth busted. So assuming it is a thing, how deep is it inside the actual vagina? Well, it's typically reported to be around 5 to 8 centimeters or 2 to 3 inches up the front anterior vaginal wall between the vaginal opening and the urethra, and as a sensitive area that may be part of the female prostate. Remind me again, how big is the average micropenis? An adult micropenis is a stretched penile length of 9.32 centimeters or 3.67 inches or less. And that's the kicker, ladies and gentlemen. If you've been paying attention to the numbers, you will have just realized something. Even a micropenis is the perfect length to hit the supposed G-spot. Really makes you question where all of this I need 7 inches, 8 inches, 9 inches bullshit comes from. Some people will say it's cope. Others will say it's science. No matter your size, if you want to have better, more intimate sex that actually brings you closer to your partner, you will invest in foreplay. And you will do it now. I absolutely love how this article sums it up for us. Unless you're a member of the Fast and Furious squad, you probably don't go from 0 to 60 the second you hop in the car. So why do you think you can go from holding hands to full-on thrusting when you're in the bedroom? Also, there are many roads to intimacy, and foreplay is one of them, says Janet Brito, PhD, a licensed clinical psychologist and certified sex therapist at the Center for Sexual and Reproductive Health in Honolulu. Foreplay leads us to a deeper sense of who we are and what we prefer sexually. To reiterate what they just said, because it is important, everyone's road to pleasure is different. Some people don't like the teasing and just want to jump straight into it. perfectly valid. But don't discount the idea of building up to the event. It can lead to hotter sex overall, and an experience where you're both more willing to forgive mistakes and missteps from your partner, because you're already too deep in the sauce to care at this point. Maybe this foreplay can involve a little bit of touching, kissing, whatever. It's all about building up to that penetration, which should be more like the dessert of the event, not the main course. It doesn't even have to start in the bedroom. Foreplay should definitely begin before you get into the bedroom to have sex, says one of the interviewees of this article. She suggests getting low-key frisky with your significant other when you're out to dinner, watching TV in the living room, and anywhere else you're feeling the vibe. And that's really what this all boils down to. The vibe should be just right. Foreplay itself works because of something called the excitation transfer theory. This theory suggests that when you do a stimulating activity in this thing, the hyped up feeling you get can then be transferred to this other thing. It's like that scene in Rick and Morty where Jerry gets a promotion and then immediately wants to bone Beth. His excitement transferred from one vertical to another. So if you're interested in adding a bit of excitement to the process of sex, there should be a clear incline in sexiness throughout the day, if you're doing it right. Foreplay can start in the morning with a bit of teasing. Maybe you hop in the shower together before work, or text them something during their lunch break. Even the fact that you physically can't have sex with them yet can be just enough to get them going. Not having what we want when we want it creates that desire. And this article brings up a really good point. Remember that the language of sex is a lot different than the language you commonly use in your relationship vocabulary. You can be going through your day and communicating back and forth in very respectful, egalitarian ways, but you may also jump into some language that's very erotic or sexual.
Good night, girl. I'll see you tomorrow.
Basically, whenever that opportunity to seduce your partner arises, seize it, and if it's not there, create it. Flirting is not a perfect science, but a little bit of practice goes a long way. So how does any of this relate to having a Slim Jim down there? Engaging in this kind of foreplay will get your partner in the mood before they've even seen what you're packing. When they eventually do, there might be a moment of hesitation, but that's when you whip out one of the deep penetration positions you learned about 5 minutes ago, and suddenly you look like a genius. Which brings up a really good point. Foreplay does need to be consensual. Very important. It's consensual just like the actual sex. Do not send unsolicited photos to your partner without establishing that's something that you're both comfortable with. And if you're looking for other, more subtle ways to initiate the proper vibe, the use of music, lighting, and scent can be an important part of setting the mood for foreplay. Music can help to create a relaxing atmosphere and can be used as a form of auditory stimulation that encourages partners to become more aroused. The use of dim lighting or candles helps to create a romantic ambiance and can make partners feel more comfortable with each other. And using scented candles or incense can help to create a sensual atmosphere that encourages exploration and intimacy. Even something as simple as like baking something and that good bakery oven smell can initiate those feelings of comfort, which can lead to an experience like this. But maybe you want to take it a step further. Maybe your insecurities stem from the lack of physical stimulation on a part of your body that isn't exactly there. Maybe you want to artificially extend your length or girth. Not jelqing, but something natural and with minimal risk. Well, lucky for you, there are plenty of sex toys that can satisfy this desire. Penis sleeves can be placed on the penis and widen the girth. Some also have extra textures that can be pleasurable and offer extra stimulation to the wearer and the individual they are penetrating. Or you can also get an extender. Penis extenders are hollow dildos that an individual can wear over a penis and can increase the length and girth. What about vibrators? Couple vibrators are worn inside the vagina and can increase the sensations down there. There's also cock rings and butt plugs. If you're still not convinced, here's an anecdotal story from a real person. Hello, my new partner is wonderful. He is everything I've wanted in a man. There's just one problem. The sex isn't great. He has a small penis and he is overweight. I am 135 and he is 250. I don't want this to be a problem, and I know he's working on eating healthier and trying to lose the weight. I am very scared to get intimate because I feel like he is either embarrassed or I might unconsciously make disappointing gestures. In sex, who likes to be unsatisfied time after time? Can you give me helpful tips on lovemaking? This writer responds, sex doesn't have to be, and for most people to feel satisfied, really shouldn't be, only or solely about intercourse. And neither a small penis nor being of size means that sex has to be or will be unsatisfying for either partner. In fact, a partner's size is generally totally irrelevant with activities like oral sex and manual sex, and with intercourse, it's often just a matter of finding the positions which work best for everyone. As a smaller person with a larger partner, for instance, you may find that it's best with intercourse to just choose positions where you don't have to bear your partner's weight, like being on top or having your partner penetrate you from behind. On the same side, however, there shouldn't be a problem with you expressing displeasure or disappointment when you're feeling it. No one should feel obligated in a sexual partnership to only voice satisfied or positive feelings and never say anything negative. Sex with any partner is always a learning process. And since no one is psychic, it's pretty unusual to have a partnership where both partners always somehow manage to satisfy the other, especially without any feedback on the matter. If this has been the dynamic so far, I'm willing to bet that the biggest reason sex hasn't been so great is that you aren't feeling able to honestly communicate with your partner more than anything else. If that's the case, that has to change. There should always be some level of sensitivity when approaching talks of sex. It's something very personal and special to people, but you owe it to them to give them some constructive criticism. It's okay to do that. You know, there's nothing wrong with saying, that's not so great for me, can we try it this way? Or, let's try this position. Or, I didn't finish yet, can you maybe use your hands or mouth? These sorts of things are things every partner will generally say to one another with some regularity. There's no need to try and avoid it. And if you're a partner who can't handle that kind of criticism, then it's likely best to hold off sex until you figure out your own self-esteem issues. Communication isn't lame, it's just safe. Again, too, a smaller penis does not need to be a problem. If the issue is that you prefer or enjoy deeper insertion during intercourse, your partner has fingers and hands. Even for women with male partners of average or larger size, plenty will still prefer or enjoy manual vaginal sex because it can be more targeted and specific. Changing up positions, as I've mentioned already, is also helpful. With a partner with a smaller penis, you're going to want to choose positions where you have the most direct genital-to-genital contact, like being on top. But since sex isn't all about intercourse and tends to get mighty boring pretty fast for those who enjoy vaginal intercourse, and a large penis isn't required for, well, anything at all. You may even find that giving oral sex feels better than it might with a larger penis. Every given body shape or size has its unique bonuses and challenges. So, let's address the giant elephant in the room. If size doesn't matter, why do so many girls and gay men insist that it does? In my experience, people tend to fall into one of two categories here. People who take the world as it is, and people who tend to hold out hope, who fight against what they're told has to be true. You could more plainly say there's pessimists and there's optimists. The pessimists see the world as a zero sum. There is a finite amount of happiness and fortune in the world, and it's the natural order of things that some people get more and some people get less. When it comes to the topic of dating, these are the alpha bros and the size queens. They see biological assets as static, unchanging signs of someone's giftedness. They will tell you that size does matter, and the ones who have it, and the ones who don't just aren't going to have sex, or they're coping. They will never be good enough for them because they lack a certain fortune that they themselves have. The optimists, on the other hand, see the world as a positive sum game. There is not a finite amount of happiness or fortune in the world. To them, happiness is not stolen or allocated, but created out of sheer willpower. When it comes to dating, these are the people that do not accept size as a limitation. If it's a guy, they learn to use their member in the best way possible. Even if he's incredibly small, he knows that he can absolutely rock her world if he gets good enough at his technique. Or if he's bigger, he doesn't rely on his size to do the heavy lifting. Even though he's got the gift, he recognizes that isn't all there is to it. Disagreements arise when these two types of people butt heads. The reason it's so frustrating when someone says, size matters because I can only feel pleasure from a penis that is X amount of inches or centimeters long, is because technically they aren't wrong. They're forming an opinion based on their experiences and their own worldview, which you can't blame them for doing. That's just how people form opinions. No one can say, your experience is wrong because it's different from mine. So yes, their preference is a bigger penis, but we aren't criticizing them for having a preference. We're criticizing their base assumption that our world is a world where people are born with their potential and can do nothing to improve their odds. Let me put it another way. This way of thinking actually describes a lot of things. We can even describe something like the energy sector this way. Instead of pessimists and optimists, let's call these non-renewables and renewables. Non-renewables also see the world as zero-sum. There is a finite amount of gas and coal, and whoever has the bigger stick gets more of it. The system's success depends on the failure of others. Think Andrew Tate. His success as an alpha male depends on the beta-ness of the millions of other males who are not as gifted as him, as he would say. America is a powerhouse because they have a bigger stick, and can therefore get more of this gas and coal. Renewables see the world as positive sum. Energy does not need to be a fight to the death. People can sustainably create their own energy because they don't need to look at the world in terms of how much gas and coal they can get for themselves. This is why the optimists are ultimately right, and the pessimists are wrong. Pessimism is inherently unsustainable. If you decide that only men who are 7 inches or longer are your new average, then you've effectively made 7 inches the new 5 inches. And 7 inches, which was considered big in the past, is now your average. Now, in order to get that same excitement from someone you consider big, you need someone who's 9 inches, and so on. It's not about how big they are, equating to how much pleasure you get from it. It's the fact that you know they're bigger than average that gives you that pleasure and rush of excitement. Think about it like this. If you, a girl or a gay man, was about to sleep with someone and you saw their penis, and you didn't know what the average penis looked like in terms of size, you don't know if it's big or small. You're not getting that rush of excitement most of the time. It's the very idea that you got someone bigger that is exciting you, not the size itself. It's an arms race of penis size, which sounds stupid, but this is exactly what it is. Now, instead of 5 being average, it's 7. 5 years later, instead of 7, it's gonna be 9. It will never be enough for you, because your enjoyment is tied to something that isn't in anyone's control and is all relative. Meanwhile, the optimists can look past size. They can take a step back and say, this system sucks, so we're not going to subscribe to the entire system at all. That cycle never gets started. Their enjoyment of sex is the only one that's actually sustainable, because they've learned to have the best sex with anyone of any size. 100% success rate. That's why, ultimately, it's in your best interest to view sex as something more than just the size of your partner. You have to view sex as more than just your pleasure. It's the experience you two share, and the force that can bring you closer together. Listen, fellas, truly, size does not matter. If your potential partner says it does, then let's face it, the sex was going to be boring anyway. I'd like to end this video with a quote from one of my sources. What matters most is that you're comfortable in your own skin. Embracing your size and shape can help you feel more confident in your sexuality and allow you to truly be in the moment. Remember, any size can work. This is not just a video saying it's actually good to be small and bad to be big. No, it's good to be any of those. You just have to learn your strengths, weaknesses, and how to use it properly and safely. So, thank you for watching. Next video, I'm gonna try and make it something not directly related to dicks. I think we could all use a break from this topic. Anyway, we have a Discord server. Link is in the channel description and the description of this video. We've got an Instagram. Link is in the exact same places. That's for if you want to see more of my avatar, Candles. Thanks for all of the fan art too. You guys are awesome and so talented. Thank you for watching. I love you all. Good night.